So today we're going to be installing a new toilet and replacing an older American Standard toilet. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off the water down here. That's the first thing we're going to do. Turn that off, and we're going to flush the toilet to get the water out. And we're going to do the old flush. Want all the water out, we'll probably have to use a little towel or something to get some of the water out. So we're going to have to take the whole tank apart. So I've removed the toilet seat, and now we're going to try to get the rest of the water out of the tank. And I have a little plastic scoop that came with some laundry detergent. I can help use that to kind of push the water towards the valve, and or we can just scoop it out. Get it a little bit lower in the tank, and then use a towel to soak up the rest. Or you could use a big sponge. Either one could work fine. I'll scoop some of it out, and then we will use a towel. And there's a lot of little sediment in the bottom here. Just, I think it's from, it's kind of clay. And there have been times when the water company is fixing the pipes, and you'll see a lot of water, the water's kind of cloudy. And what happens is that, it kind of fills up your tank, and then over time that silt, basically clay, just settles into your tank here, and then that's what we're seeing getting stirred up. It's just clay sediments in the water. Okay, so I did find that big sponge. It's an old sponge that we used for doing tile work. It's in pretty bad shape, but I saved it to wash the car, and it'll be good for this. So we're just going to stick that down in there and soak up as much water as we can. There we go. And we can just put it in the sink here. I'll work on that a bit. Okay, so I did finally get the water out of the tank using the sponge. And so the next step is to remove the two shiny bolts that you see in the bottom of the tank. Use a large head screwdriver and a wrench on the bottom, and kind of show you on the bottom where those bolts are. Right up underneath here. And I'm also going to, over on the other side, we turn the water off. I'm going to disconnect the water from the tank right there. So why don't we go ahead and do that first. Here we go. I'm going to disconnect this. Yeah, so there goes a little bit of water. Push down on the floor. Get that hose there to absorb that. Okay. And then the next, I'm going to remove these bolts. I won't be able to hold the camera and do that at the same time. So how do we get the rest of the water out of the bowl? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a bucket of water, and we're going to pour that in there, and that's going to create the siphon effect. It's going to flush it all out. This is something I learned from my father many years ago when I was young, that if you want to flush a toilet, and you could just use a bucket of water. So it works pretty well. There it goes. So we got most of the water out of the tank. There's a little bit left. We don't have to worry about that when we remove the toilet bowl. But when we're carrying it out, we want to be careful we don't slosh it around too much. So now we're gonna remove the bowl. We gotta remove these 2 bolts. I took the covers off. There's these little plastic covers that usually cover them, and use a screwdriver or putty knife. You can just pop those off, or sometimes you can get a hold of them, pop them off, and then we're just going to use this wrench. We can loosen that up, and then they just spin right off. Once we remove those on this side and the other side, we can just lift the toilet right off. And we're going to want to be able to pick it up and then move it quickly, and try to avoid having the water that's in the bowl, any remaining water, go all over the place. So that's going to be the next challenge, but we should be able to handle it. I can always pick the toilet up and put it in the bathtub, which is right next to here, and then dump out the water in the bathtub. And then I picked up the toilet bowl. I put a piece of cardboard in the bottom of the bathtub so I could set it on that. So that worked out really well. The cardboard was from the box with the new toilet. And you can see the floor and the wax ring. So we're going to clean that off, throw that away, and we have a new wax ring that came with the toilet that we will use to install the new toilet. So we're going to clean that away. And so this is the tricky part. So I cleaned off the old wax ring, and the toilet comes with a new wax ring. See here, and then there's this rubber gasket. I'll take this off, but that's the wax ring. So this goes on you flip the toilet over, and I'll show you over here. So here's the toilet upside down, toilet bowl upside down, and we're going to put the wax ring right there. We're going to press that down firmly, and we're going to take the plastic bag off first, of course. And then we're going to flip the toilet over, line it up, line the the holes here. This is the tricky part with these bolts, and hope that we get a good seal, because we don't want to have any leaks. So that's going to be the challenging part. So I got the toilet bowl set, and that seemed to go well. So we're going to then check or add the tank here on the back. So we were going to remove these, it's pre-assembled, it says. So we just need to remove these wing nuts and washer we have here. And we're going to put that on the back of the toilet bowl. And then we're going to secure that in place. It says to make sure this seal is in place. Here it is. So that's good. And these are tight sealing. So those bolts stay there. That's sealing the bolts in the tank. And then this is just going to mount it to the bottom. So that's going to be the tank on the back. Then I'm just going to have to come down underneath here. I don't know if you could see that. The bolt goes through, and then it comes in underneath. I'm going to have to put the washer on, and then the wing nut to attach on each side. We don't want to over tighten it because we don't want to break anything. But we are going to make it tight so it's not wiggling. So I did tighten the bolts underneath the wing nuts just by hand tightening, not too tight. So we have it nice and firm. And then I'm going to reconnect here the supply, which just goes right onto the tank here. Whoop. And we're just going to tighten that until it's tight. And then we can do the next step in the instructions, which says to, I believe you're going to check those instructions, but I think it says to turn on the supply and check the inside of the tank, make sure everything's working correctly. So we Turned the water on, filled the tank, and went ahead and flushed it. Flushes really well. We checked around the toilet. I used a headlamp just to kind of get underneath there and be able to see what's going on. Didn't see any leaks, so that's a good sign. Where we connected the hose there and under the tank. So the next step is to put on the toilet seat, lining up the holes, and then we're going to insert these plastic screws in there, and then there's a washer. Let's see if I can't get these. There's a plastic washer and a nut that goes underneath that I will hand fasten, and you can use a screwdriver at the top just to hold the screw, but it's pretty easy, and then you flip these down and lock them into place.